It's kind of heavy. So I was browsing on eBay and I found a bare bones SGI Indigo 2 for honestly pretty cheap. And then the price lowered and then I haggled it down a little bit. And I got this thing for really cheap. Honestly, it looks pretty much like garbage, but the reason why I bought it is because it has extreme graphics. Some of you might already know that I actually have an SGI Indigo 2. If you'd like, you can go watch the video I made on the Indigo 2. Mine boasts a 200 MHz MIPS R4400, 128 megs of RAM, and express graphics, in other words, the GR3 Elan. If you were to buy this exact same computer spec'd out just like that in 1993 when this was new, it would cost you around $36,000, which is $78,642 in today's money. And also, I'm pretty sure that price was including a school discount as well. So essentially what the plan is for this bare bones system that I bought here today, I'm going to take it apart, take out the graphics card, try to fix it up and clean it up because it's very rusty. This entire machine has suffered from water damage. Put it in my Indigo 2 and see if we can get a free upgrade to extreme graphics, which was basically the highest end graphics for this Indigo 2 when it was released. And I'm not talking about later versions of the Indigo 2, such as the IP28 with its impact graphics, which is way faster than this, but the extreme graphics is pretty much as fast as you can get in 1993, in a normal desktop at least. The IRIX Crimson and the Onyx Reality Engine 2 were way faster than this. Granted, those are actual graphical supercomputers. The Indigo, on the other hand, is just a desktop, but this desktop was way ahead of its time. This thing has 128 megs of RAM, which by today's standards is all, but back in 1993, you were lucky if you even had 16 megs of RAM in your traditional desktop PC at home. And this system, the IP22, can be upgraded to a maximum of 384 megs of RAM. So I don't even have the max amount of RAM for this machine. Imagine having 384 megs of RAM in 1993. Dude! But anyway, enough yapping. Let's actually get to the build.
IONIC1K.
This one still has the graphics card in it, although it'll probably need some maintenance before we actually install it into the system. And I figured that if I can get this to work, it would be a free upgrade to extreme graphics. This thing is very bare bones. It has, the outer casing is pretty much gone. It's missing a lot of stuff. It doesn't have, you know, the hard disk or anything like that. The power supply looks like it has some rust in it, and there is some rust actually on the back here where the ports are, so we're gonna have to really do some airing out of this thing and just see if we can make it as non-rusty as possible, get it usable. And then I guess we'll just test it in my Indigo 2. Oh yeah, now I have two Indigo 2s. One just a bit slightly less broken than the other. Yeah, so this is the Indigo 2 that I bought. As you can see, and as I said earlier, this is completely stripped, pretty much. It does not have the front, does not have the outer casing or anything like that. The RAM is gone. I think the CPU is still in here, but we'll slide this part out and check. Try moving it around without scratching the absolute hell out of my table, okay? So the extreme graphics on the Indigo 2, yeah, check that out. It is the triple slot GPU that is in here. In theory, this should be pretty much just a drop-in replacement for my Indigo 2. I would take this out. It is a bit rusty, like around here, and also at the back where the ports are. Let's actually take a look at that. But in theory, this upgrade should work. That's if the card works. I actually don't know if the card works yet, because this entire thing is not tested. But you can see, well, I mean, it could be worse, honestly. But I think a lot of this stuff could actually be saved. I really don't want to test it with this power supply though, because it looks like it probably does work. These power supplies are, all things considered, pretty reliable. I don't know, that's just, you know, rust and stuff near lightning doodads don't really, I don't like that. Okay, so let's, I've never actually taken an Indigo 2 fully apart to the point where I got to the CPU board, but let's try doing that because I would like to see what CPU is in this thing. These things did come with R4400s, R4600s. I would like to see what actually is in here. It's probably another R4400, but I really don't know. They really don't make them like they used to, huh? So I've never actually taken apart an Indigo 2 this much to get to the CPU assembly, like I said before. But from what I've seen, this thing, this is where the optical drive is supposed to go, this just kind of slides out of place. So I guess we'll try that. Is this as far as the screw goes out? Yeah, probably. Oh yeah. That was easy. Actually, this Indigo 2 might actually be savable. If you guys want to see that, let me know, but I'm definitely gonna need a lot of parts for. Okay, this is the CPU assembly. It looks to be in actually really good shape. I think I'm gonna take these screws off so we can get this off, and does it? Just looking at this thing, I have no clue what this is, and the part numbers don't really... I am going to do some research on what this is later, because right now, I want to get that GPU out and see how bad the damage really all is. Okay, I saw the pictures obviously on the eBay listing before I bought it, but I really don't know how bad it really is, so, you know, I just left that to be the surprise. And if this video is a spectacular failure, I hate stripped screws so much. God, I hate screws. I'll be right back when I actually can get the screw out, because this camera, everything's in the way. I'll be back. Okay, so the screwdriver bits are not working, so needle nose pliers, which also have rust. Where the hell were these to get rust? This computer is so cool. Computers like this don't deserve this type of fate. But unfortunately, there's probably a ton of these that got thrown out, and I really don't want to think about that right now. Oof, this graphics card has some heft to it. We have it out, and that's the rear I/O for the GPU. We are definitely gonna need to work on that, but honestly, it does not look too bad at all. Also, off camera, I figured out what CPU this is. I took off the heatsink. It's actually really cool how this works. It's really badass. But if you look on the IHS, you can see just by the numbers, this is a 200 megahertz MIPS R4400. So the same CPU that I have in my Indigo 2. Some quick fun facts about this little mid-plane here. So there's actually two different versions of this mid-plane. On the IP22 and I think the IP26, so this one's an IP22. The mid-plane will actually just look like this, right? But on the IP28, right in the middle here, you'll have like another little connector right here, and that is actually a 3.3 volt power delivery rail. And I don't know if any other add-on cards, like any eISA cards, really use that, but I do know that that was used primarily for impact graphics on the IP28 Indigo 2, you know, the purple one. But yeah, that's all cool and all, but I really want to take our attention to that GPU because I'm getting really excited. I noticed this before, but look at the bottom. This thing is cooked. So I want to start by removing the layers here. This top board is really what I'm most concerned about because it's the I/O board and it looks pretty meh. I mean, it actually looks not that bad looking at it up close, but let's disconnect all the layers and figure this out. I'm getting rust all over my hands. Yes, I love tetanus, my favorite snack. Okay, so here's the first layer that, well, I mean, in theory, should be able to come off. Whoa. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. If anybody remembers my video that I covered on the Indigo 2 a while back, you'll notice that the second board here looks entirely different to what's on the GR3 Elan, the Express graphics. This stuff, I got no clue what's going on this board, honestly. Really darn cool, though. Love these giant gray bricks of logic. This looks really good. Like, really good. This is probably going to work. You know, honestly, I'm not really that worried about the rust because I think the rust will be pretty easy to clean off and figure out. Lift this thing up. There we go. Oh, dude, look at that. Here's the bottom side of the second board. And here is the last board. I have no clue what's going on here. I would like to look into that a bit further. So from here, I started cleaning off the GPU. I started with a thin wire brush and I just went to down. Eventually, I started using a sharp blade and just started scraping off a lot of the surface rust, which actually helped a lot. Okay, so it's about, I don't know, like an hour later, and the board's cleaned up really well. The I/O looks a lot better than it did before, although you can still definitely tell that, you know, it's kind of messed up. But I think it's okay. I think it leaves some charm. Definitely a reminder of where this came from. And here's the brackets. They all cleaned up pretty nicely. This is the one that was the worst out of all the three. This one was actually at the very bottom, actually where this card was, which cleaned up really well. Like, look at that. Really clean. Also, in the process, I found a document showing what everything is on the boards. Thank you, SGI Depot. So here's a little walkthrough on some of the stuff that's on these boards. So starting at the very top, you have this board, which is basically just a standard I/O controller. And then you have this add-on slot in the middle, which is for SGI Galileo video or Galileo video for the card and the video breakout box. And so it would just sit right on top of here, and then you'd have other I/O at the top here where you would connect your breakout box to. That's the first card. And now for the second card, the card in the middle, it's this one. And you have two big chips right in the middle here, which actually are two raster engines. These are dual RE3 raster engines that, according to the spec page, hold 200,000 custom gates running at 50 megahertz. Very advanced things. So now for the very last board, the board at the very bottom of the entire triple slot configuration, and honestly the board that I think is the most exciting, is this thing. So the first thing, you have the GIO connector here, which connects the board to the backplane. So this big chip right here is the command engine. It's a single HQ2 command engine. And also, according to the spec page, it holds 80,000 gates. And essentially, this chip's entire duty is to delegate the commands to the geometry engines, which are actually these right here. You have 2 chips with 4 chiplets on them. So there's 8 geometry engines in total that provide about 256 megaflops of 3D power. And also you have the connector here, which connects into the midboard. So I'm going to go ahead and get this back together and get this ready to put into the Indigo 2. Okay, so we're here on the Indigo 2 currently right now, and it is not upgraded. I can do high nav right here, and you can see that it's still the original specs, like the 200 megahertz MIPS R4400, and the same graphics as in the system. It's the GR3 Elan. I have not updated it yet. And the reason why I'm on here without it being updated yet is because I'm trying to get a baseline of what my graphics performance is like now, so then when I actually do put the new extreme graphics in here, I actually know what I'm looking for, and I can see how much faster it really is. And for that, I think I have the perfect thing. Moving a 3D object in Showcase right now, you can see how much GPU I'm using right here on the side. Here, I'll just focus the window. You can see actually how much of the GPU that I'm using. Not even really using that a whole lot doing this. It's supposed to be kind of laggy like this for a 3D object moving like that, but I'm wondering if I'll see an improvement in this at all. Okay, I have no idea if this really uses a lot of GPU, but I guess we will see. What if I just do ray trace like that? I believe it's mainly using the CPU. I don't know, I can't really... Can I just... X kill? But even if I move around in here, yeah, you can see there's actual GPU usage right there. Here, let me make the window even bigger. I love old computer graphics like this. I can even have it show other... Well, okay, well, there's all the bounds, but you can have it show... Oh yeah, look at all that. God, that is lagging. But yeah, man, look at that. I should make a game on my Indigo 2. That'd be an interesting video series. Don't really have any applications on here that I can really use to test this, unfortunately. But, I mean, I guess I could just use this kind of... Oh, wait, actually, what about a game? It's not killing. X-kill. X-kill solves all my problems. It's a 3D desktop. Whoa. What is that? What does that open? I don't know. What does that open? Oh, there's something out there. I have not a clue what is going on. Okay. Yeah, because that's not creepy at all. I would try playing Doom to see if the new graphics would have any sort of performance in Doom, but the Doom port to SGI here is really CPU-based. It doesn't use any GPU at all. You know, this game is relatively simple, but doesn't this look amazing for being at, like, what is this, 1993? This just looks like some modern-ish, like, Unity block game or something. Alright, let's go throw extreme graphics in this machine now. I'm getting bored. So, how to actually open and get inside of an Indigo 2. It's actually pretty toolless. All you need to do is flip down here, which, you know, this is how you get your power and reset button, the front of your optical drive, and in my case, a tape drive. I have a tape drive in here. And then you have a giant metal security bar that you pull out of the machine. And then once you pull that out, you can actually just pull these two down, and this comes off. And then you have these little tabs here and here. And you essentially just kind of... And this entire top just slides off, just like that. But yeah, there you go, then you're inside. But as you can see, that is the GR3 Elan compared to this new Extreme board. Very exciting stuff. The GIO portion of this card is always the trickiest to get out, so I just put a screw in here, or a screwdriver in here, and just lightly give it a little... You don't want to... I'm very gentle with this thing, because this is probably my favorite system ever. But yeah, here we go. This is the GR3 Elan. You have, it's actually the exact same board, the same controller board at the top, but at the bottom there's the actual graphics board. So this card has like actual heft to it. It is heavy compared to the Elan. Oh man, that looks so good. If for some reason this top board does not work and it does not give me a picture, I can just swap it out with the one that's already on my Elan. I want to try this thing out, except I'm going to try this out with the cover off of it. Very unlikely, but you never know. It might not work, or it could just blow up. Very unlikely, but better to be safe than sorry. So Let me go move it over to the bench and let's plug it in. So here's my little bench setup. We have the Indigo 2 here without the cover on. We have monitor, power, keyboard, and mouse all plugged in. So let's turn it on and see if it actually works. No way. No way! No way! Oh, just salvage that Extreme card out of that system. It works. Oh man. Yeah. I know there's no Ethernet cable. It's fine. Also, fun fact, I'm not using a sync adapter here. I actually figured out a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago, that this monitor, the ViewSonic 17GS, actually supports sync on green. So I never have to use that little sync adapter in the first place. Okay, well, I mean, we're on the desktop, that's for sure. Oh yeah, look at that. Graphics board. GU1 EXTREME. This has probably been the most excited I think I've ever been in a video before. Okay, let me shut this thing down again and let me actually put the cover back on and complete the build so I can get this desk back together. I forgot to check the check mark to tell it to shut down the system. That was a funky sound. I don't believe I've ever heard that before. Oh my god, I have a working Indigo 2 Extreme. Now the only thing that this is missing now is the little yellow Extreme badge that would sit right there, which I tried looking for some online and they're actually a lot harder to find than I initially thought. So if anybody has one of those badges to put on this Indigo 2, that'd be greatly appreciated. So now we're on the Indigo 2 with it being fully upgraded. As you can see there, you see graphics board GU1 EXTREME. So this is the first test that we tried. We tried moving around a 3D object in IRIX Showcase, and it's about the same, honestly. I mean, maybe it's a little bit faster, but at least currently I'm not noticing too much of a difference. I didn't really expect to see a difference on this, but I mean, oh my goodness, it doesn't lag on Buttonfly anymore. No way, it like doesn't lag at all on Buttonfly anymore. Seems like there's something up with this IRIX install because half the demos, like half the OpenGL demos that should be here are just not here. I'll probably end up reinstalling IRIX to get that stuff back. Whoa. That's a huge difference right there. What? Whoa. That's a huge difference just dragging this around. Remember before it was like around this size and it was just kind of lagging, but now that's actually a much bigger difference than I initially thought. Here, let's try boundary. Here, I'll do a little side-by-side thing right here and maybe you can see how different that actually is. Even this is running a lot better than it did before. Before it was kind of laggy, although it was perfectly viewable, but this just looks really good. What the hell am I doing? Dude, where am I? Even the goldfish are a lot smoother. The assets are loading faster as well. Very low poly fish. Crazy graphics for 93 though. This is mainly a CPU based simulation, so there's a lot less GPU that's actually being used here, but I mean, it is smoother with the new GPU upgrade. Okay, so SGI Doom is more of a CPU intensive workload here, but I mean, I just wanted to test it out and see if it would actually make any difference with the new Extreme graphics installed, and not really. I don't notice the difference at all. It's just using CPU. I'm sure that if I were to upgrade the system even further, get more RAM and a 250 MHz R4400, it would probably be better. But I mean, even still, this is fine. Also, this is as big as I can play SGI Doom, because if I try to make the window any bigger, yeah, it doesn't scale at all. Wow, that's a lot smoother. This game was like struggling on my old graphics. What happens if the spider eats me? Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's this game. Runs heck of a lot better on Extreme than it does Elon, that's for sure. What exactly am I doing right now? What? I think you get the point. It performs a lot better on Extreme graphics than it did on Elon. That is definitely for sure. The last thing I decided to try was the 3D file manager. otherwise known as Fusion or FSN. Now I did not try this before, but I'm using my old video of when I first originally covered the Indigo 2 as reference material for this test. And that's also what I was using for reference material when I was testing Doom and also the fishies. But honestly, running FSN on the extreme graphics, I was not noticing that much of a difference because it actually wasn't really using that much GPU and it was using more CPU. Also with the graphics upgrade, it was less laggy here and there, but honestly, still pretty much the same. So that's going to be about it for this video, but before I go, if you or anybody that you know are selling anything SGI, any SGI systems or parts or anything like that, I am willing to buy things at a fair price, so if you are selling, contact this email address on the screen and I will get back to you. I'll also put the email in the description. I will also leave a list down in the description of SGI systems and parts that I'm currently looking for. But anyway, hit like if you like this video, dislike if you hate really cool old retro workstation upgrades, or if you just hate me. And of course, if you really like this video, consider supporting me over on Patreon. I have a ton of very interesting videos planned, so definitely stay tuned. Also, do you like pumpkin pie? I don't know, I just figured I'd ask. Merry early Christmas.